Hello everybody, the Lord Root here, and today we're looking at the new release of Kerbal Space Program, which is known as First Contract. And so I'm not going to start a series off of it yet. I'd like to see some of my mods fixed, because I do have a plan for a new series that I'll talk about in a little while, but we will create a new game here. We'll just call this the Hype Train. Pick a flag. You'll notice we have several flags, one for each manufacturer now. Floyd looks kind of cool, although trees I think would be better. And you'll notice we have three options now. Sandbox we're familiar with, and science is what career mode used to be, but we don't have to really worry about funds in that. But I mean, this is 0.24, and that's what we're looking for, so I'm going to go with the new career mode. Now, some of my mods are incompatible, and I'm not entirely sure if it'll crash the game yet. I know Kerbal Alarm Clock is incompatible at this time, and some other things as well, but you could see we now have a new interface here. It does seem to be a little bit faster. One of the things really we could do, we have zero science, but then we start out with about the same parts, but we need to find a way to fund this because we have 10 grand, but we can get a new, you can get money for what we're doing. So, what we will do here is we will accept this contract to launch a new vessel, and you can see we get funds from this. Funds being Kerbin's basic unit of currency, because the Kerbals are now capitalistic, and so we need to think about that. We also need to set an altitude record. We also got reputation, and you'll notice we get an advance here so we can build our dill, and that's not going to be too hard to do. We get prestige as well, or rather reputation, and that's denoted by this star. So let's go ahead and get this going. You can see our advances have come in, and Gene Kerman is here advising us. He seems to think we can get out of the atmosphere. That would bring us enough money, but I want to essentially do some science here. Now it goes without saying now that we have a new part here, and one of the weird things now is that we're on our side. I guess it's so that the vehicle doesn't get rotated or whatever. We could transmit science here. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that's from Fire Spitter 3. Fire Spitter is one of the mods I have that's broken. And this is Flight Engineer. I don't believe we'll want that. You can see here we now can go look at our design goals. And so we want to get to an altitude of 5,000. Now, if we look at this, as long as we keep our thrust to weight ratio going, we'll be fine. If we look at this guy here, we have 160. And that may be worth it, considering we're going to try and land back at KSC. But then again, I think that we're doing okay with this. So I'm just going to name this First Shot. And we will now launch as if we need this a vehicle to get anywhere. I mean, it's going to soon be deprecated. And of course, the appropriate time to fulfill a contract is right after you open a beer. I'm going to do some basic science here. We definitely want a crew report from this, although it's not worth all that much, but we'll get ourselves an EVA report as well. And that's not going to be hard to do at all. It says we're flying, but why can't I get back in? It's kind of weird. Oh, I'm hitting G. You'll notice we started half thrust automatically, which may or may not be a problem. I'm not going to bother with the thrust because that could be an issue. Oh, we got a staging error. I should have paid attention to what I was doing. I made the worst mistake possible. So we've already lost a little bit of money off the bat. And this is unlikely to really do much for us. I have a feeling we're... Okay. Well, while we're here, we might as well take ourselves a surface sample and store our experiments here. It's not really what I had in mind. Let's quickly walk around the Space Center. And we'll leave that contract there to KSC. I believe that that's a separate biome, if I'm not mistaken. Because we're on the launch pad, we will get 100% recovery, which is nice. I mean, we won't recover that SRB, but we will have money here. So we've got 39 science out of this because we completed a contract and we recovered for 100% because we were on the launch pad. Our parachute and our a deal. And Jebediah Kerman survived, so that somehow gives us reputation. How we have any reputation after a botched launch is anybody's guess, but that does mean that we will now have the ability to do a suborbital hop. And in fact, I'm thinking maybe what we need to look at is getting ourselves possibly these gimbaling. Well, let's, before we spend science, let's see what we have in terms of contract. They want us to test. We'll do a suborbital hop. And we need to be going from, it looks like 2,400 meters here. We need to land a solid rocket booster, it looks like. And we will get an RT-10. And a stack decoupler needs to be landed as well. I'm not going to do orbit just quite yet, but we will work on a craft which is going to be capable of getting us to where we need to go. And in that sense, I'm just going to grab these parachutes here. One of the things that'll make this a little bit easier to work with now is basically the fact that we've now got this deal to where we can take these engines here. I'm going to, because we need a decoupler, I'm just going to take these parachutes here and attach them to the side, and also the decoupler. But what else do we have here? I think they gave us that. It's kind of interesting. I think technically we will be landed, but we will now want a parachute here. And pretty much to, as best as we can, preserve this guy. We need to get up to 2,400 to 3,000 meters. How much are these guys here? Something tells me that this is not really going to work out the way I want it to. I don't want to decouple this guy here. I think I've actually put on too many of these parachutes. But this should slow us down sufficiently to where we're able to land that booster. And I don't even think that it needs to necessarily remain fueled. I think they just want it landed. So we'll maybe get this guy here. We'll just use our inline reaction wheels and very carefully get us to do a suborbital deal. Although while we're at it, well, that's actually not too bad. I don't think we're going to get out of the atmosphere this go around. But we do have to make sure that we're going a specific speed. And so we'll bring up our mission details here. And try to keep this stable. We just gotta get that altitude up and going. So a key thing to note about this is that in reality, you don't actually get much in the way of, oh, we need to be careful here, because we are going a little bit faster than intended. And I need to get ourselves a crew report. I'm not entirely sure that we're going to get our target velocity. Yeah, well, that needs to come down quite a bit because we're going way faster than needed. Oh, I should have taken the flight out of the atmosphere. Well, it's a little late for that now. We're just going to time warp out of the still here. And you know what? We're in space. We'll, we'll just grab ourselves an EVA report here. And while we're at it, we will take ourselves a crew report. Now, of course, we're not going to land where we want to here, because the Earth is rotating. But I think maybe we will be in high Kerbal orbit. Let's see, crew report. Oh, we need to get out again. We'll take that data. Store those experiments. Are we... We can take another crew report, it seems like. So even though we are not capable at this moment of doing much, I think now, if we take the data, store those experiments, and we take an EVA report, we are high over Kerbal now. And we can take ourselves this other crew report. So we're about at apoapsis. We've got no charge, so to speak, because we didn't pitch over. It will very likely end up in the ocean. What is apoapsis, anyhow? It's quite a deal. So here's to maybe us slowing down in time. Although I seriously doubt it would happen. We'd have to do a special suborbital hop. And this could be bad. We'll just land on our side. I'm not even sure how we have reaction willpower, because I thought we were out of juice there. But we may be in a new biome. So that's the hope anyhow. Because we will lose reputation if we are not careful. let's just spin around here. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we're moving very, very slowly and get an EVA report out of this. And a crew report as well. And maybe we will fly somewhere close by. That is, of course, the hope. Probably not the best hope, but I reckon if we keep ourselves level, we'll be fine. And we're landing in such a way that we may not roll down this hill. There we go. Unfortunately, we're at risk right now of oh well. No, there we go. I'm just going to recover it. We can get that. Well, yeah, why not? We'll quick save real quick. And hatch is obstructed, of course. Yeah, let's just recover that. That science is not going to be easy to get. But we have 74 science now, which is good. We recovered 95% of our value, and that's 45 kilometers from KSC, so that's not too bad. But we still happen to have that. Why have I... Oh, I didn't test it. Well, that is no good. So I'm going to have to try a different approach here. Unfortunately, we do have reputation to burn, so we'll buy some parts. Maybe like this gimbaling engine, for instance, that will be very useful for us. And we might as well get something out of this. I mean, although I think we've got pretty much everything we can get. This time, I'm going to go in and get... Well, they want us to test this and fight over Kerbin. Let's see what we got active. You know, I'm just going to... do that. We were supposed to stage that, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get that deal going on. We have maybe we've already done that, or no, we haven't. That should have worked, but we'll have to remember that because we probably lost that now that we've got our dill. We've got a radial decoupler we're supposed to deal with now. Well, it's clear to me that we definitely need to test this liquid fuel engine once we get in. And I'm going to make that happen partially by utilizing these guys here. Whoa. Oh, why can we not attach that? That seems to be disagreeing with us a little bit. But we'll try getting up into the atmosphere. And this does have to be landed, I think. So we'll just get this going. I've already got plenty of throttle here. And I think we will just want to okay. Well, that's kind of weird. I guess that never went through because we were staging. We're beginning to deviate a little bit. We need to bring up our velocity some and try to get this guy up into a reasonable orbit. I'm going to more or less take advantage of the fact that when we get up here, we should hit our speed pretty soon. Although hitting this altitude will probably be a little bit difficult, but I think we'll get on up there. We've just got to conserve our fuel. And I think that will be okay. But let's not overdo it here. We still need to get up to 2400, and that's not going to be easy. However, we are almost there. So whatever it is that we're doing, we'll go ahead and we'll deploy that. And we'll jettison that because there's no real hope of recovery for it. And while we're at it, well, actually, it probably would not be the best idea to grab this still here. I was going to get out an EVA, but that is probably not the world's brightest idea. And you might be saying, well, why aren't you bothering putting parachutes on this? And there's actually a pretty good reason for it, and that reason happens to be that I'm not going to get anything out of it by doing that. But we are beginning to slow down. We will hopefully land at or near KSC, even though there's no lift on this, so to speak, so I can't really control where we're going. And once I pop that deal right there, I'm not really going to be able to do much. But we have to land first and foremost. And we're going to have to pop that decoupler. So that could present some issues with this. We've already found that we missed out on an opportunity. What I need to do is I need to get into orbit as soon as I can. So I'm going to move this guy up here. We'll do what we can to land on our tail, even though we will waste a little bit of money by getting rid of this, because we're not supposed to be able to get any recovery value out of this. But we'll wait until we're landed here. This is probably going to explode. Because there's fuel in this, so I'll just let that happen. And our decoupler is intact, so why have we not gotten... Oh no, don't decouple that way. There we go. Is there any science we can get here while we're out here? Probably not. We'll get ourselves an EVA report though, and we'll get a surface sample as well. We'll take the data and we'll store experiments. And finally, we'll get ourselves that crew report. So we have a fair amount of science. We're at 55 science now. We might spend that on something interesting. But we're at the point now to where we definitely need more contracts, so we're going to want this guy here to stage eventually. Mark II radial mount parachute. That might be interesting. We might want to probe for that. But we'll have to do that. Oh, we're getting... I think landed at... landed at Kerbin means that we will basically be able to do this on the launch pad. We will get science from this, of course, but I am going to begin orbiting here. You'll notice as our reputation is going up, we're getting more lucrative contracts. So, we'll do just one more here, I think. We have that on loan, so I'm not going to bother with that, but reaction wheels might be nice. And so let's just see if we can set this up to be capable of orbiting. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get ourselves a command pod. I don't know why I had, I hadn't really done much with this. You know what, we'll actually go back real quick and we'll attempt a splashdown with the LV-909. And in this case, the way we're going to do it is we'll just have ourselves a small deal going on here. As long as we don't stage, we will be fine. But let's see. Really, I'm going to throw in a number of parachutes. Let's just see what... Oh, Kerbal Engineer is broken. Well, maybe we can get some science from it. We'll want something here. Let's take a look at our engineering goals. Did we did not automatically get that. I need to make sure next time to do that. Oh, pardon me. So this is an expensive spacecraft, but I think it'll be worth it. Because we will get reputation out of it. And maybe, and I'm not entirely sure about this, but maybe we can even get some other things going on as well. Now our goals include using a launch stability enhancer, using the radial decoupler, and doing some other things as well. We'll just use this guy here to get us enough in the way of fuel here. What else do we need to test here? We need to test our or whatchamacallit, really, I guess it doesn't matter what we test here, but we need another decoupler probably. This is one up here, and we'll put it at the very bottom. And we'll throw in these guys here as well. As for our decoupler, I'm going to put them on the SRBs on the outside. That seems to be the best way for us to achieve this goal. And that is really it. Oh, we need the launch stage as well. Which apparently does not cost much. We'll move whichever these guys are. We'll move them up here, I reckon. And hopefully we've got the right ones here. Yeah, those do in fact look like the right ones, so we'll try to get in orbit now. And we need to splash down as well. But let's get ourselves going here. And what do we got here? So we can test those at the launch pad. That, of course, needs to slow down quite a bit. We are moving quite a deal faster than is optimal. So I guess we'll mean that... Oh, come on. Why are these guys still attached? I must have accidentally attached them to the wrong deal. which is going to suck because we will run out of money if I'm not careful. And I really want to be careful with doing orbital insertion with this guy. You know, while we're at it, why don't we get some mystery goo? And how about a crew report as well? We'll get that coming down. And there goes Facebook. Again. But we're about to stage here, so we'll do that. And, wow, somebody keeps on messaging me. Not that I'm complaining, I like talking to people, but not while I'm recording. We'll just, we'll throttle down here to make sure we have some fuel to deorbit. Although maybe we should be going as fast as we can. Although, you know, it's... At this point, I'm not quite sure how much Delta V it'll take for us to maintain this minor orbit. More than I believe I have, so getting into orbit may be difficult. But we will, in the interim, observe the mystery goo. And at least get something out of it. We won't get everything we need, unfortunately, and this will cause us to become insolvent. So, in the interim, I am going to bring this orbit down just a little bit. And can we create a new stage? That is the question. I mean, I guess at least if we look at our finds, we will have... Oh, we're going overland. Unfortunately. Although, it looks like we may end up in the water again. Let's just get these guys going here. And when we splash down, we'll stage again. Because we're halfway across the planet, we will not recover much in the way of value, unfortunately. But how are we doing on altitude? We're almost where we need to be. I'll just cushion our landing. Although that does not appear to be necessary. Because it does have some crash tolerance on it. So we are very close now to this landing, and I will probably end the video here. And did we... Awesome, that's good to know. We can in fact rearrange our stages in those cases. Probably did not recover much in the way of money because we were so far away from Kerbin. But we have enough for another shot, I think. We can get rid of those launch clamps. And we are now... We do have a fairly good reputation. So just to see what we have now, we only have Orbit Kerbin, which has no deadline. And that'll help us. We got several days to accept some of these things. But, in a lot of these cases, we might want to use our probe body instead. So, we ended up with 54 science, which can be used for a number of things. And I could already say this is much more difficult now that funds are in there. Now, I did promise that I had something good coming up, and I'll have a series based off of this that's basically based on the idea of a post-apocalyptic Kerbin. And so, the basic idea is that, you know, if we, basically the Kerbins are the only Kerbals left, and if we fail, that would basically be the end of the game for us. I'd have to start another series. And so I'll be working on that. I might try to get some trailers out. I've also got another video that I was incidentally working on yesterday before the update dropped, and that will essentially be me taking somebody's suggestions for the, I believe it's the LBS-1, and trying to fly it. And so I'll upload that probably after this, even though it comes afterwards. Until then, this has been Thy Lord Root, and I will see you later.